Foreign Minister Bushati informed the Foreign Commission today of the advances in negotiations with Greece, providing hope to those evicted from Greece regarding the repeal of the law of war. Both the SMI chair, Kryemadhi, and the DP chair, Basha, warn protests have only just begun and will not stop until Rama resigns, and they believe an anti-mafia government is in place. Due to a major influx of families wishing to legalise water connections before the grace period ends, Minister Jignouri announced its extension to February 28th, although businesses are not included. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Monday the 29th of January 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. For the first time after the two meetings, Foreign Minister Bushati has given a flicker of hope to all Chamerians expelled from Greece. Called to report to the Foreign Commission about the discussions that took place, Foreign Minister Bushati said that the abolition of the law of war would bring about the desired resolution, allowing the Chamerians to enjoy their properties in Greece. Chamerians will have the right to enjoy their property, said Bushati. However, for the opposition, these are just words and the government has produced nothing concrete as yet. The government has nothing concrete, just lost time over the past 4 years, said the Deputy Chair of the Commission, Shehu. The sea agreement is another element that has sparked debates with Greece, which according to Bushati is heading towards a solution. According to him, current DP Chair Basha, during his time as Foreign Minister, made a number of deals in secret which have presented current challenges. Bushati confirmed that President Ilir Meta is across the content of all discussions with Greece. I have informed the President regarding the sea agreement, declared Bushati. Asked about the research process on bones of Greek soldiers in Albania, Bushati said that everything is being implemented according to international standards. Albania's foreign minister also outlined that discussions with Greece have included Albanian immigrants living in Greece, the Albanian language, the apostille stamp, and the establishment of a common border regime. About a month after the decision to vote for the UN resolution regarding the status of Jerusalem at the UN General Assembly, the opposition has called for a review of the stance. Through a motion requesting debate in the Assembly, the DP and SMI accused the government of not consulting appropriately on the decision and declaring a stance which is against national interests. The Democratic Party has determined that the Albanian government's approval of these resolutions, known as the US decision, is a flagrant act against national interests. The government acted without informing the Assembly and without consulting the Foreign Affairs Committee, as well as excluding the President of the Republic from the consultative decision-making process. For this reason, the Democratic Party wants to review the pro-resolution vote by the Albanian government, in doing so declaring a non-approving attitude towards this resolution, announced the opposition. After the vote, the Ministry for Europe and Foreign Affairs explained that this is not a vote against the US and that Albania has made a decision aligned with the European Union. On December 21, 2017, at the end of the UN vote, 128 countries expressed their pro-resolution stance, including Albania, although 9 countries were against and 35 chose to abstain from the vote. The European elite, including France, Germany and the United Kingdom, were all among those in favour of the resolution, which disagreed with the stance that had been recently taken by the US. Prime Minister Rama has labelled the opposition's allegations that the government is trying to capture justice as verbal dribble when responding to one of the opposition's accusations for which the protest took place on Saturday. The propaganda over the capture of justice is nonsense, just verbal dribble, exclaimed Rama. Rama did not mention the word protest, but said that the opposition has the right to have a different agenda than that of the majority. He declared his response to the opposition is an invitation for dialogue, especially regarding the issue of electoral reform. We have the obligation to continue to strive to create appropriate conditions for dialogue. If the opposition has chosen an anti-historic position on the topic of justice, I hope and I wish at least to have a dialogue on the topic of electoral reform, outlined Prime Minister Rama. Having just returned from the Davos Economic Forum, the head of the Albanian government considers the country to be a step ahead of where it needs to be for the opening of EU negotiations, deeming the government to have completed all required tasks. Albania is a step closer to opening accession negotiations with the European Union. As we speak, Albania is considered to have carried out their assignments accordingly, announced the Prime Minister. Rama also discussed negotiations with Greece, which are expected to be finalised with a strategic agreement. On Saturday, the Albanian opposition held a protest for the departure of the Rama government to pave way for the creation of an anti-mafia government that will finalise key reforms. The opposition accuses the Prime Minister of attempting to control the justice system. Two days after the opposition's protest, SMI Chair Monica Kryemadhi said that the battle for Rama's removal from the government has only just begun. She warned of unstoppable protests until the head of the government departs. The January 27th protest was not just a parade in front of the building where crime is cooked in Albania, but it was a protest to tell Rama and all those around him that the battle to overthrow him has only just begun. The battle is not in the hands of the opposition anymore, but one that the whole of the Albanian people are involved in, rising against inequality, the lack of jobs and emigration growing every day. It is the citizens against this government that is impoverishing them day by day. As I said, this protest was just the beginning, warned Kryemadhi. The DP chair, Lulzim Basha, considered the January 27 protest as unprecedented for the past 27 years, also saying the opposition's war against this government will continue. He spoke of his dream for an anti-mafia government that would eventually break all ties with politics and crime. The opposition has accused the decision to extradite Nazar Saiti to Italy as unlawful on the grounds that he is currently under investigation by the Serious Crimes Office here in Albania. They claim it is an attempt by the Prime Minister to sabotage the investigation into the former minister, Samir Tahiri, over his potential involvement with drug trafficking. DP MP Awerd Bulukbashi said that the majority can never achieve justice if the former minister is not sentenced. Instead of extraditing criminals convicted of drug trafficking in Italy, like Durim Kici or Agron Jafai, they release them. They release them by just deciding in court not to extradite them. Meanwhile, persons who are under local investigation for ties with organised crime and drug trafficking in the infamous Tahiri Habilai case, such as the key witness Nazir Saiti, who is under investigation by the Prosecution Office of Serious Crimes, the court decided to transfer him to Italy just to block and close the case, accused Bulukbashi. According to the DP, by protecting Tahiri, the Prime Minister is not only protecting himself, but also his power, which comes from his relations to organised crime and international drug trafficking. Bulukbashi went on to add, Eddie Rama is doing the impossible. Through the blocking of justice, he is using the prosecution, the police and any other resource to protect Samir Tahiri, because by protecting him, he also protects himself. We will continue the strong fight because Eddie Rama cannot deliver justice to Albanians without condemning Samir Tahiri and other criminals who support this government. The government announced a decision today to postpone the deadline, providing a grace period to families for the legalisation of water connection by an additional month due to the large influx of people rushing to organise contracts and meter installations. The decision means that families now have until February 28th to contact their water suppliers and legalise their connections without facing legal punishment. Minister for Infrastructure and Energy, Damian Jiknouri, announced the government's decision today, stating, family subscribers now have an increased grace term up to the 28th of February. 9,000 new contracts have been signed and 26,000 water meters installed in just 2 months after the launch of the action. However, unlike family subscribers, controls and fines for businesses will still begin, with the operation being launched on February 1st. We've seen 9,000 new contracts set up in 2 months. The postponement of the deadline is for family contracts only, and this extension does not apply for businesses, explained Minister Jiknouri. The Prime Minister, Eddie Rama, has accused some big businesses of exercising their activities in the middle of Tirana without fear that they are not paying for their water. Prime Minister has warned that there will be no tolerance for any water abusers. That's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.